as you probably noticed if you're watching on YouTube, our outfits have completely changed, and so has the lighting. We had some technical issues with the film last night, but CT was gracious enough to come and re-record our film session portion where we're talking about the main prospects that he is most inclined for the Nuggets to choose in the draft next week.
What were you kind of seeing in these clips and why you were keyed in on Daron?
Definitely. I think with Daron is that he's pretty screen versatile. So in a lot of these clips, he's switching on to quicker guards and staying with them, and he's showing pretty good help as well. And here he's in the pick and roll, and now he's switching on to a guard. And the thing I like about Daron is that he's pretty composed in one-on-one situations, and he's not a guy who really gets too jumpy, on closeouts or. A lot of players kind of like to, really like move around, and then too here, like in the post, Dane ran like a pro style offense. Anthony Grant was a coach in OKC, as their assistant, and then he moved to Alabama, and now he's head coach at Dayton, and he really runs like a pro style offense. A lot of post hub work for Daron. So if you see here, like, in the post, he was double teamed at times, and he made quick decisions, really good plays on the move as well. And like his ability to score inside out is something that I really like. Like even here, like attacking off the dribble and a pick and pop, and he's able to take the big off the dribble. And I think that just speaks to his versatility. And like even right here, catching a pick and pop and then just two dribble attack, to the rim. So I think that shows just his all around kind of offensive arsenal.
Well, if you could just go back to that clip, I think he's in the green uniform. He's in the post a couple possessions back this one. So what I really liked here, if you go back to the beginning of this possession, you can just play it. He actually he goes into the post, he reposts, and then he forces the shooter's defender to react to him before he gets his teammate the ball again to just get him optimal space and time to set up his shot. It wasn't just about waiting for the double team. He kind of forced it with that dribble too. And I really, really appreciated that about him.
How is he like scoring right out of the post? Like if he had to just like take somebody, is it like quick footwork that he's doing, or is he powering through?
Yeah, no, he's got quick footwork. So he's pretty good at, some up fakes, and he's got a really quick spin move as well. Like he'll dribble once to his right hand and then spin left. He's kind of like able to like throw the defender off from what I've seen a couple times as well. So he's definitely got a bag in the post. He's not like the strongest player, I would say, at 6'10", but he's pretty quick. So I think that's, a factor there. He's able to kind of, out quick slower footed bigs, especially too. I think, in the post is where he could thrive too. But the fact that he's also a perimeter big, I think speaks to some of his versatility there, and his ability to play inside out is, I think, an important development step for him.
Yeah, and he looks very like quick with his reads and decisions.
Yes.
We were talking about that last time too.
Yes. Yeah, definitely is a big too. I think you guys see Jokic, of course, like we're spoiled there, but he's
so spoiled. No one can really stack up
the quick decisions. But I think, as we see, even in the playoffs now, right? You see like a guy like Derek Lively and even Porzingis, I think for the most part, is a pretty quick decision maker. He's in the paint, and Al Horford as well. You need bigs who are quick decision makers, whether that's in the short roll, whether that's in the post, whether that's in pick and roll as well. And I think Daron, especially here, if we kind of roll the clip here, like he's attacking like from half court.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's from that far.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, that kind of speaks to his versatility. Like even like here, this is a great play right here. If you want to freeze it right there. So he sets it up right where it's a fake DHO, and then he spins back to attack the paint. And then if
here he goes.
Yep, then he goes right there. Really sick dunk.
Even
and
here,
it's funny because I remember someone. Oh, sorry. Well, go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I remember someone mentioning about him because he's just one of the favorites for all of draft Twitter. That he can run inverted pick and roll, but it's not like he's high volume at that. But whenever I see him do it, he just looks so comfortable. So he's like versatile enough that even in situations that he's not in often, he just looks and moves very comfortably in a bunch of different positions. So he might not be like an A plus in any one thing, but he definitely stands out as somebody that is like at least a B minus at a lot of different offensive situations. And I think that's particularly valuable on a team like ours.
Yeah, that was a good one right there, where he ran like an inverted pick and roll, and then you see like the defense kind of mix the switch, and then he's able to
they both try to like recover
It's just
back.
like, yeah,
yeah. That's
that
just
was so cool.
as a big in playing like as the guard defender like in screens, because bigs are usually guarding the pick and roll, right? So it's like if you're guarding it the opposite way, and we see that with Jokic when he's kind of running it sometimes as well. It's pretty tough for bigs to guard that kind of action. So yeah, I think like Ray said, I would say he's not like A plus in anything, which is fine, but he does have a lot of different skills, especially as a big, that I think are important. Especially when it comes to being like a bench big for Denver, but too, I think he can play with Jokic as well. And defensively, I think he's scheme versatile. We saw him block shots and switches, and he could play in a drop coverage. He could play in a hedge. And I think he's pretty quick enough to slide his feet, and he's got that 7-1 wingspan as well. So, and then we saw him shooting this year at 39% from three on 3 attempts a game, which isn't like the most attempts, but for a big, I think that's pretty good. So
yeah.
I think just the overall theme with him is just the versatility on both sides of the floor, and I think he'd be a useful piece to whether it's a contending team or even a rebuilding team as well.
No, but we want him to come to us. The last thing I'll just say, I really encourage our viewers, our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about this prospect, there's a bunch of these sessions where they'll like No Ceilings especially did a lot of these film sessions where they bring the player in to break down their own film. And something that really stood out to me when it came to Daron was just how when he's breaking down his own film, lots of players are very smart, especially multi-year college basketball players, but his basketball IQ stands out among the bigs in that the way that he breaks down his film and what's going on in the possession, what he saw in a certain possession, either offensively or defensively, to make him react a certain way, sounded a lot more like point guards in the class and less so like some of the other bigs in the class. So I really appreciated that and what that could bring to our offense, which is a very like read and react heavy type of offense. So
definitely, yeah, those were very insightful and informative, with the film session. So definitely great for people to check those out.
It's really easy once you come to the Nuggets if you do know the fundamentals of basketball. So that's why I feel so good about him as a prospect. But I know a lot of other teams feel really good, or I would say like fans of other teams feel really good about him as a prospect too. So we don't know that he'll necessarily fall to the Nuggets on draft night, right?
Yeah, I think at 28 it might be tough because he did get a green room invite. So I'm a little concerned that he won't be there. Yeah, no, I think Daron would be fantastic for Denver. I really do. I think he could play right away too, which would be an added benefit, compared to last year where the players were a little bit, hit or miss at times. So, and he feels a need, in the front court, as the bench big. But he could play with Jokic too. I think at times, you know what I mean, against the Wolves, right? You could play him in 2 big lineups, and I think that's what Nuggets were missing this year. And Holmes can stretch the floor. Not to say Gordon, obviously, he has a little bit of, offensively, sometimes he can't space as well. But I think Holmes gives you that option where you can play 5 out and you could maintain that size level as well.
I know you had someone else as your plan B for if Daron does not fall to the Nuggets at 28, but we still want a big there. It was Kyle Filipowski, right?
Yeah, so it was Filipowski.
Yeah, I think with the Nuggets need versatility off the bench when it comes to their front court. I think Holmes would be, he'd be 1A. I think Flip as well. He's another guy who was invited to the green room, but maybe he could slip. I'm not too sure, but I think with Flip's game, he's a guy who could play inside out again. 35% from 3 this year on 3 attempts a game. So again, not too big of a sample, but I do think that he's capable of punishing defenses there. Really good passer, could attack closeouts. 7-footer. He's pretty physical as well. And he played the 4 last year with Lively on the roster. So this year kind of transition.
Oh, that's right, because Lively's a Dookie.
Yeah. And then Filipowski was able to transition more to play the 5 this year. So he didn't really have like a bigger rim protector next to him, which I think that's where Duke kind of lacked in that aspect. But I think he's pretty passable defensively. I think he'd probably be best in like a blitz or a hedge where Jokic plays instead of like drop big. But again, I think if you kind of surround him with versatile defenders, like if you have a Watson or a Brown, an AG, for example, right? I think that could be workable.
He is measured at actual 7 feet, though. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Shoes. I think he's like 250 pounds around there. So
yeah,
pretty physical. But yeah, I like a lot of his passing as well. Like you could play him in the post as a post hub, and he could play off the move as well, as we see there.
Yeah, that was a good pass in this clip. Like just
and then here's the
passing it over. Yeah,
really nice pass. The thing with Flip is he's a really quick decision maker, which you need in the front court. Like I think him and Vlatko in the front court passing wise would be really solid. Vlatko's a really quick decision maker. Keeps the ball moving. Good screener as well. And I think Flip is somebody like that he'd be pretty good too.
Whoa. Got
Yeah,
some jabs.
Upside as well there. This is kind of like a bailout shot at the end, but he does have some ability to put the ball on the deck. And like this is awesome here too, like a fake handoff and then attacks the paint like one dribble.
Yeah, that was nice.
It would be nice to have somebody off the bench who isn't like scared of bailout shots. That isn't like Reggie or Justin, who, I still appreciate everything those guys gave us this season.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think with Holmes and Flip, like those guys are bigs that the Nuggets just haven't had since Cousins, I think, as far as looking at their versatility offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either I think the Nuggets need like a dynamic rim roller, and then they could play him with like a point guard who can, kind of like carve up the defense. But I do like Flip and Holmes because they could also play as lob threats as well. But they could also create their own offense where you can kind of mimic how Jokic, obviously not how Jokic plays,
right.
One-on-one, but at least, can mimic some of that style where you can run some offense through them and they can hit cutters, they could make quick reads and decisions out of the post. Both guys could play in the pick and pop as well, which is important. So, I think those guys off the bench would be pretty dynamic. And I think with Flip, some of the defensive concerns he has, like would be kind of less mitigated with the bench. And also too, if you look at the personnel there as well, if you have a Vlatko next to him, a Watson, a Brown, you have pretty good wing defenders.
Yeah.
So that could kind of.
And I was just going to say, like you hinted at all these ways that the bench could play more like the starters do with kind of a Jokic light at that center position offensively, but I think defensively as well. Like you say, if we have someone who is capable of like playing at the level and having the other guys not completely switch the scheme that they're using defensively when Jokic is on the floor versus off, I think has some value to it just in terms of getting everybody in that rhythm as well.
For sure. Yeah, and I think too when you look at it, right, I think the bench is just like a really drastic change from the starters, like on offense and defense. I do like that the Nuggets.
What offense?
Yeah, I mean the offense is really just Murray, pray that he makes the shot. But I do think that you can kind of mimic, what the starters do as far as playing at the level of the screen and like I said, like playing more through their big men offensively as well. I do like that the bench is able to switch 1 through 4 for the most part. Especially when Bruce on the team last year, that was kind of, they tried it with Reggie, but he wasn't able to hold up in some matchups. So I think next year you can kind of maybe try to do that as well. Cause I like having that versatility, right? Where the Nuggets aren't just like a one kind of trick pony where they could play only at the level, they have multiple pieces you could deploy. So I think those guys would be great additions to the Nuggets if they were picked there.
How do you feel about the guards in this draft? And if you had to give like your top 3 or 4 guard prospects, who would that be and who are you looking at?
Okay, I think for the Nuggets would probably be a guy who's slipping as of late is Isaiah Collier. And I
was going to ask
why.
about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Collier top 5 on my board, my personal big board. I'm just really that high on him. The context of USC was not good at all. Not a lot of floor spacing for him.
But he played with Bronny James, LeBron's son. Wasn't that enough?
The future Laker, Bronny James. Yeah, with Collier, I think for me, like what I really like about him is that he's like a walking paint touch. Like he could get to the rim at will, draw the defense in. He's a really good passer, I think. At times he had a lot of turnovers, but I think that's just because of the usage that he had at USC, and I think he won't have that in the NBA. He's going to play beside other creators and other good bigs as well too. So I think the turnovers will scale back there. The 3 ball is a bit off this year, 33%, which isn't like the worst in the world, but it's not great. And I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", so he's not like on the taller side, but I do like the physicality that he plays with, and he's very, very quick, like in the pick and roll. And um, I think in particular with Denver, like playing him beside Murray, he could attack, second side actions, could attack off the catch, and also too could run the bench. Playing him with the big, whether it's like a lob threat veteran or a Holmes as well. So he'd probably be like my number one guard prospect. Like if he were to fall all the way to 28, or if the Nuggets traded up a little bit. Then my next guy is Tristen Newton out of UConn.
With Newton to start, he had 4 triple doubles in his college career, UConn, which was the most as a power conference player since Shaq. So, which is a pretty like staggering stat when you look at Newton, where he's 6'5" guard. He's not a big man, right? And I think Shaq had 6 in his career, and then he's tied with John Morant, Jason Kidd, and David Robinson for 4 triple doubles all time, which is a pretty impressive statistic. And I think with Newton, he played in a pretty modern offense. Dan Hurley obviously was the coach rumored for the Lakers job, and I think it's pretty easy to see why, considering how high powered the offense was at UConn, and a lot of the modern concepts that he used in college is not really seen in college. It's college is a lot more of it is a lot of structured offense, but I think UConn did apply that with having a lot more modern principles as well. And I think it's important that Newton was able to be kind of like the key cog in all of UConn's back-to-back championships as the point guard. I think being a point guard for a unit like that is a pretty difficult ask, and I think he really excelled in that aspect. 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 80% from the line. I think the three-pointer shot like 33% from three, which I'm not really too worried about because he shot 37% the year before. So,
and he's taking those deep threes like we saw a couple clips ago, right? Like basically NBA threes.
Definitely. I think too, like you see Kling get the board and Newton just fires away. He's got like a really great confidence about him shooting deep.
I like this lob that is coming up too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The thing with Newton as well is he's a really good lob. Really good at placing lobs, whether that was to Klingon or this was Samson Johnson.
Yeah, getting that over Edie is impressive.
For sure.
I didn't think Edie's placement was too bad, but, his teammate there did get, Tristan's team did get behind him, but you still had to get it over those fingertips of Edie, who was very large.
For sure. And you see, Newton, he's really adept at running off of ball screens. UConn played multiple ball handlers in their offense with Cam Spencer, and Stephon Castle was a guy who's going to be a lottery pick as well. He was more of a wingish type player, but he was initiating offense at times, and I think it kind of speaks to Newton's versatility, where he's running off stagger screens, and now he's throwing a lob for the big man, and he kind of was carving up Edie in that championship game toward the end of that kind of run there to kind of break the game away. So.
The Purdue guards, though, I was complaining about the point of attack defense for Purdue that entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were getting eaten alive by UConn's guards.
It would be nice to
manage there for sure.
It'd be nice to have like an off ball, not that like that's his whole game, but just if Murray is playing with another guard or something like that. If he could do some off ball stuff, that would be really nice, because we haven't really seen that with Murray in a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say, though, like you're talking about these triple doubles, I think that kind of thing would really appeal to Cal, because we did hear a lot about the fact that Jalen Pickett was like the first Penn State like men's basketball player to have a triple double since Cal went to Penn State, however many decades ago. And he's mentioned before sort of wanting do-it-all players, and especially like the rebounding would certainly appeal to him as well, because everybody on the floor has to do all of the things, especially rebounding. That's very big. But you talk about how Newton was like the engine of this pro style offense at UConn. Kind of makes sense why the Lakers wanted Dan Hurley to come and like fix the mess over there. Oh, wait. Yeah. Will, could you replay this pass? This was really cool.
Yeah, this is – I kind of clipped this the other day, as I think it's one of the better passes that I've seen during the 2024 draft cycle. There was a pass that our friends in Serbia would like too. Nikola Djuricic in the combine, he had a nice pass as well.
Yeah.
This one from Newton, like if you kind of freeze that, Will, right there, like look at Newton here. So he takes 2 to the ball, right? And then you kind of see the backline defense is, Spencer lifts up to the top of the key and Klingen's rolling to the rim. And Newton's able to kind of manipulate the defense with a no-look pass to Klingen for the poster slam, which I think this was, an excellent read, but also too just a really cool pass as well.
This was so good. Can we actually not give Klingen to Trae Young now that I'm thinking about it?
Hey, at least
actually, there's like balancing that with like, no, just send Klingen to the East.
Yep.
This conference is full.
That's a really fun, combination there. But yeah, I think with Newton, if you want to go back to the clips a little bit, like maybe toward the end, there was like another play I wanted to highlight a couple of like this is another one too, like just see the relocation for Newton where I think the appeal would be playing with Murray off the ball. Newton can initiate offense, but 2, he could run off of screens as well and play beside Murray. So I think that's the appeal there, where he can run the bench unit by himself, and he could also play beside Murray, and Nuggets wouldn't be defensively compromised either.
Right. Was there a specific clip you wanted to go back to?
There was like a pick and roll with him and Castle. I think I wanted. I think it's a little further down, but that was also another great play there too, like attacking ED 1-on-1 in the paint. Like, look at that, to get over him, and then he did the too small gesture to him after he hit that bucket, which was pretty funny. Yeah, those were, I think those were the 2 good ones as well with the lobs. Trying to basically take advantage of, Edie kind of playing in no man's land there. And I think Newton was like, his lob placement was really good. I think he's a 3-level scorer, deep shot maker.
I just love his finishing at the rim. He's like just the way that he attacks. Like he doesn't have
60% finisher at the rim this year. Last year, I think he was 51%. So he did improve that there. Oh, there it is. So this is like, if you see this, like kind of like a horn set, Caravan kind of clears aside. And then Hurley was really good at, putting his players in position to succeed. So if you see Castle here was a guy who teams really left open. So this is a nice play here where Castle's screening for Newton in a ball screen action. And then there's kind of like a dummy action see off the side there with Samson Johnson. So, and if you want to go back a little bit, Will, right there, you could just see like Newton, like the way he's able to position his body to kind of throw off the defense to throw this pass to Castle, like over his head right there too. And then, because that's how much, the defense respected him after he was hitting those deep threes. Now he's able to hit Castle on a like a 3-on-2 situation here, and he's able to finish at the rim. So just another like really nice read that I saw from Newton. I just think he, just to like be like simplified, I just think he knows how to play, the game. So I think that's just going to be important, especially like we said, him running a high-powered offense. And just to be transparent, I think he'd be better like fit than Pickett on the roster. So I think you kind of play right away in that aspect. And the versatility, I think, would also be a big help to Denver's bench. And you could play him alongside Murray as well. And you wouldn't be defensively challenged there.
So you have a first-round grade on him. I haven't seen Newton really mocked anywhere above like high 30s.
Yeah, no, I think with Newton, a lot of it is that he's 23 already. So he is an older player for the class. And I think GMs are just like really always drawn to youth.
But he's already good. You don't have to worry about him getting better.
I agree. And we were in this Twitter space last night with a couple of the draft Twitter guys, and my good friend Chucking Darts, he has a podcast as well. He has Newton, like I think he has Newton higher than me, honestly, on his board. But like I think just Newton being a guy like on like the best offense in college basketball, like being the point guard engine for that, being a back-to-back national champion as the starting point guard, like I just think that speaks volumes. I think the 3-point percentage was a bit down this year, so that might be a reasoning, for them being lower on him. But
apparently, none of the guards in this class can shoot, by the way. So, like, I don't know why that would be. I don't know why that would be the issue.
Drafting a national champion worked for us before. So hopefully he brings that.
True. We need another one because it didn't work this year. Let's see. We need to replenish the national champions talk. Thanks, everyone. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. And also let us know who you guys are looking out for in the draft. You can leave us a review on Amazon Music and Spotify as well. And always remember that winning is fun and losing sucks.
True.